The following Cook, Train, Eat, Race TV webisode is brought to you by Team You Crazy. Visit them now at NoLimitsEndurance.com or RunningALife.com. Here is your host, Jason Bahamundi.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tasty Eats. That's the name of the show we're going with for right now, so let's see how that works out. Today's episode is brought to you by No Limits Endurance Coaching. Make sure you check out our sponsors after this episode at NoLimitsEndurance.com. Today we're going to make for you a very simple cookie, a peanut butter oatmeal cookie to be specific. We're also going to add some raisins and some walnuts to it. So while this recipe is very simple, doesn't take long to make, doesn't take long to bake, it is long on taste, and it is something that you can definitely put out for Santa coming up here in a couple of weeks, or just enjoy it in front of the fire while you're watching some TV. So obviously one of the main ingredients in a peanut butter cookie is going to be peanut butter. Typically I make my own, but instead I'm going to use a jarred or peanut butter, which is this brand here, Crema. The reason why I picked this one out is because if you can see here, the only ingredient, peanuts. If you're using Jif or Skippy or just about anything else, their brands are going to have oil in them, which is not necessary because the peanuts have plenty of fat and oil in them, so just use that. In addition to that, we've got a half a cup of oatmeal or oats that we're going to add to it. I use Bob's Red Mill gluten-free. We're going to add that in there, half a cup. We're going to add a quarter of a cup of raisins. We're going to add a half a cup of chopped walnuts. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of vanilla. God, I love the smell of vanilla. Just one of those smells that makes you want to keep on cooking, actually. And then lastly, one egg. But I'm going to add the egg after I start to combine all these other ingredients. You're going to get a pretty sticky consistency here, which is what you want. You want to make sure that everything is well combined, so when somebody bites into your peanut butter oatmeal cookie, they're not getting just all oats or just all raisins. You want to make sure it's well combined so they get all the flavors that are intended in this cookie. This is pretty well combined now, so I'm going to add my egg in. Mind you, I've already preheated my oven to 405 degrees, and once this is all well combined and placed out on a baking rack, I use a Silpat, but you can use parchment paper so that it doesn't stick to your baking sheet. I do not suggest using a cooking spray because it can still stick, but B, there's no reason to add that additional fat. Cooking spray is oil, right? So it's got fat in there, and it's just not necessary. Even if it is coconut oil or even if it is olive oil is going to change the taste. So I would avoid that altogether and just get yourself some parchment paper. I know you're going to say, well, I looked at the nutrition facts on the back of the can for the cooking spray. It says 0 calories. Yeah, but look at how long the serving size is. It's like 2/3 of a second or something like that. Now, if you're able to figure out how to spray for 2/3 of a second, so be it, go for it. But I would say that the easiest way to avoid any of that is to just literally go with parchment paper. Or in my case, I'm using a Silpat. And we're going to scoop tablespoon size dough onto the cooking sheet. But I'm going to show you the consistency of the cookie dough before I place it on the sheet. Basically, you want it to look something like this, okay? And here's an easier view of it. Real simple to do. Make sure it gets about that consistency. I will have the nutrition facts for you when the episode is over, as well as the recipe. So if I spoke too fast for you at the beginning, don't worry about it. It'll be there for you at the end. So I'm going to spoon these out onto my Silpat now, and I'll show that to you before they go in the oven. So I finished rolling out the dough, the peanut butter dough, into cookies, place them on my Silpat. You can see them here. Very simple. Then what I did is I moistened my fingers with
some water, and just press them down so that they'd be more in a cookie shape. Now, obviously, some look bigger than others. That's the beauty of being homemade and not coming from the Nabisco factory, right? Not to mention, you know exactly what went in here. So I had preheated my oven to 405 degrees. I'm going to stick these cookies in the oven now for about 15 minutes. When they're done baking, after about 15 minutes, I'm going to take them out. I'm going to set them on the countertop and let them cool there for about 2 to 3 minutes as they come down to room temperature. Then I'll take them off and put them on a wire rack and let them cool the rest of the way down to room temperature, and then be able to serve those and enjoy them with Santa Claus when he comes down that chimney in a couple of weeks. So anyway, I'm going to pop these into the oven right now, and we're going to watch them bake over the next course of 15 minutes. Now, of course, you won't be watching them bake because you don't want to sit there and just watch an oven, right? Anyway, so they're going to be in there for 15 minutes, 405 degrees, and then from there what we're going to do is, like I said, put them on a cooling rack after they've cooled on the pan for a few minutes. And the reason why I want to cool them on the pan for a few minutes is so that they get actually like a little hard on the crust, on the bottom, form sort of a crust, so that they're a little bit crunchier because there's nothing but peanut butter and oats and an egg and some raisins and walnuts. It's going to be a soft cookie, unlike if you used flour where it would get a little bit crunchy. So we want to get that little base of a crunch in there before we put them on a wire rack to cool the rest of the way. So let those bake for 15 minutes, and I'll show you the finished product. So now the cookies have cooled on their wiring rack, and you can actually see them behind me over there. Move my hand, see if I can do this in the backwards area. Anyway, they're back there, and they're cooling. But I have some here in front of me. We've got 3 here. Whoop. 2 here. Live television, gotta love it. Anyway, so they came out a little bit small, which is good. All you want is a snack. There's plenty of protein and fat and carbohydrates in these, so you don't really need more than just this little piece. I think I ended up with about 15 or 16 cookies out of this, so I'll put the nutritional information in there based on serving size. And make sure you enjoy these tasty eats and leave some out for Santa, like I said. Anyway, thank you very much, and have a great day.